Alright, Barak Yahawah, Barak Yahawshi, Call Halayim La Yahawah Ba'Shem Yahushai, Call Halayim La Yahawah Ba'Shem Yahushai. Peace and blessings to the elect of Israel. Alright, and that was all praises to the Most High. In the name of His Son, Yahawashi. Do want to give a double honors to our elders and apostles of Israel in these times, known as a great millstone. Alright, I want to do another basic lesson. It's something we always go into every once in a while, and it's in the news again, and it's part of prophecy, and something we should be aware of, and that we should be warned of. Alright, is the case of the UFO. This is an article that came out in the Boston Globe recently. The date here for it is January 16th, so this is last week. And it's entitled, "This former Navy pilot who once chased a UFO says we should take them seriously." Alright, and you can type this in Google and you can read the whole article for yourself. But there's points in this article that I want to bring out that relate to the scriptures and how it's relevant. Alright, remember everything that's going on, we can filter through what was left to us. Alright, so I'm going to just read some of this. It says, David Fravor is a recognizable type. Let me scroll down. Alright, 13 years in the Wyndham NH resident, was a veteran U.S. Navy pilot and controls the FA-18F fighter jet flying off San Diego when he sighted an unidentified flying object and tried to intercept it. And when you go to this article, you can see the video. Alright, let's see the video that was recorded. Alright, so he goes in and says, I want to join on it. I want to see how close I can get. He actually gets close because you can see in the video. And it says, Fravor 53 said, describing his thinking as he began the pursuit. Now, he goes into his pursuit, but I wanted to point out something that he said in here concerning, if there is ever an invasion. Alright, because look at the name of the article here. It says, we should take them seriously. Alright, because those objects, alright, are identifiable. Those are the chariots of Yashar Allah, chariots of Israel. Alright, now I'll start here. It says, when the two fighter jets got to the assigned location, they spotted a disturbance under the water. Fravor said he told him it looked like something the size of a Boeing 737 airplane was underneath, causing waves to break over it. Then we see this bright white object above the disturbance moving erratically back and forth, left and right, bouncing around like a ping pong ball, he said. And this is probably what they saw. Alright, something that looked like this. It looked like it was moving around erratically. Alright, Slovakia. Let me get that tab again. Let me see here. Give me 1 second. Alright. Pull this up because this ties in, alright, what he's experiencing that the scriptures speak about. Okay? So let me scroll down some more in this article here. Continue reading. And just bear with me here, and you can see the visual to the left, alright, of some examples. And the video on the bottom is actually a compilation of the top sightings in 2017. Alright, because the Pentagon recently came out with a lot of video footage of the one I'm reading actually came out. Alright, now when you come down here, let me just find this portion of the article here. Let's see. Okay, here we go. It says, Fravor said if a foreign submarine had surfaced behind a carrier in the area, dire alarms would have been raised and questions would have been asked about how it had penetrated the Navy's defense. And yet now, quote unquote, you have many of these objects, like dozens of them, that are just at will, just showing up, doing whatever they want and going away, and you can do nothing about it, and no one asks any questions, he said. Over the years it became just a funny story that he would tell friends, until he was contacted several months ago by Luis Elizondo, the man who once headed the Pentagon program, who asked him to tell his story to the Times. Now he's glad the issue is making headlines, and he supports the work of the two of the Stars Academy of Arts and Science, a new group that Elizondo has joined that aims to raise money for UFO research. Alright, so they're starting to try to take this thing seriously. It says, I think the story needs to be told. We need to stop making jokes and start paying attention to it, Favor said. This is not a US problem. This is a global issue, he said. Why aren't we investigating these things? If it's like ET, then all good. If it's like War of the Worlds or Independence Day, then not so much. And Independence Day is actually taken from the scriptures too, which I'm going to get. Alright, so what this pilot saw was something that looked like this. Alright, something that looked like this, moving erratic. This is what it looked like. These are some of the images that he was probably seeing. And you see it in the video. You can watch the video. Okay? So, this is what the scripture says. Because those are known as pillars. He said it looked like a tic-tac. Well, that's in the form of being cylindrical. Alright? Like she says in this article. Alright? When you scroll down towards the end, I think he said it was cylindrical or something to that effect. Basically, it was in a cylinder. Okay, it looked like it was in a cylinder shape. This is Exodus 13 and 21. And the Lord went forth by them in a pillar of a cloud to lead them by the way, and by night in a pillar of fire, and give them light to go by the day and night. And he took not away the pillar of the cloud by day, nor the pillar of fire by night, for before the people dealing with Israel. These pillars and these objects that the U.S. government and these other nations space programs are observing are the pillars of Yasha Allah, alright, of our nation, that have always been showing up. Alright, it's nothing to be a secret. Alright, really it was a secret, but it's been revealed to the prophets, and we're getting it back in this time, receiving this understanding of these things. Alright, when you look up the word pillar, it's Imwad, which means let's look at this. It says a pillar, a column. Alright, a pillar, a column, upright. Alright, so that's what that means. Alright, so this back in that time, that's what it looked like that went before us. This is what it looked like that went before us. And these objects too, man. The angels were there. Yahawshi was there if you could receive it, man. Alright, leading us out as his name is fitting. And this is what it looked like. These are some of the images. Okay. And this is what he saw, but what he saw was a more shinier object. Alright, this guy here, he saw a more shinier object. When you read it, he was actually engaging with it, man. The chariot was just playing with him. He didn't want nothing with it. The other guy in the article who was riding with him said he was weirded out and terrified. Alright. Now, moving forward, here's some more recent news in the UK. Alright, this is December 11th, so not too long ago. It says former UK defense official, military may not be adequately prepared for alien invasion. Alright, now you can go read this too, but I'm going to get to a point in here. Right at the top here, it says this coming Thursday, NASA is planning to announce a major discovery in their search for extraterrestrial life. As the looming press conference gins up speculation, one former official in the UK's Ministry of Defense is warning that England is ill prepared to defend itself against an alien invasion. An independent Business Times reports, quote-unquote, UK government's former UFO investigator Nick Pope has warned the country to prepare for an alien war, which means a foreigner war, and this is what it's going to look like, man. Alright, you're going to see images of men that look like this coming back, alright, in vehicles like this. Warn the country, and according to Pope, United Kingdom will be compelled to ally with NATO and the US if war happens with the aliens. The report went on to say that the former Minister of Defense personnel also admitted that the United Kingdom will fail miserably if a war breaks out with advanced aliens. Alright, the chariots, man. Alright, you no match with those spiritual beings and those entities, that power of Allah now Yasha Allah, our power of Israel. He also added that the final resort of the country will be to embrace nuclear weapons, which will harm both the aliens and the humans, which that's not going to harm the chariots. Alright, if they're traveling out there in space where it's highly radioactive, then what we have down here is nothing to be compared to it. Alright, they created the elements. Alright, so it's not going to harm them. Alright, so the point is, it says they're going to have to ally with NATO. Everybody's going to come together to try to fight these vehicles. Just like this guy was saying, alright? They're all going to have to come together. And it says this here, that Ezra, alright, the same Ezra that comes before Nehemiah, saw the same vision that John the Revelator saw. We're going to link them together. These prophecies, they saw the same thing, who the world calls Jesus Christ coming back. His name is Yahawshi, with the thousands of heaven, the chariots, alright, coming to deliver his people and also to destroy this land, alright, and various other parts of the earth, alright, because there's going to be a fight. That's what that war in heaven is. These jets, alright, these guys fighting the angels, alright, which they're going to fail miserably like you see in Independence Day, alright, except the angels are going to win. 2nd Ezra 13 and 5. I'm just going to read the point here, alright. It says, and after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of the number from the four winds of heaven, meaning the north, south, east, and west. Everybody who has forces to fight this mountain that came up out of the waters being the Shemayim, alright, the heavens, to subdue the man that came out of the sea. That sea is talking about the Shemayim, alright, the waters, the heavens that we can see. Okay. Now, that man being Yahawshi, that's who this vision is about. This whole chapter in 2nd Ezra 13, that's why the Apocrypha is so powerful, and they took it out of the scriptures, because it talks about in depth of how and what the description of what the Lord is going to look like and what's going to happen when he comes back. Alright, now to match it up, this is Revelation 17, dealing with the EU and NATO, alright, that extension of the Roman Empire. In verse Romans 17 and 14, I'll start at 13. It says, these have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast, alright, representing the EU and NATO. Because they're the ones that come together, alright, those countries, NATO is the fighting force for the EU, alright. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb, alright, the Lamb being Yahawshi, the sacrificial lamb for the nation of Israel, alright, so we don't have to go offer burnt offerings with animals anymore. He was that sacrifice, alright, so he's that lamb. That's basic. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him, alright, that's the elect, alright, called and chosen and faithful. That's talking about the 12,000 of each tribe that you read about in Revelations, the 7th chapter, and the 1/3 of the nation of Israel in Zechariah, the 13th chapter. Okay? This is Matthew 24 and 21. It says, for then shall be great tribulation, such as was not from since the beginning of this world to this time, to no ever shall be. He was saying the same thing as Daniel in Daniel 12 and 1. And at that time shall Michael, alright, one of the angels traveling in these vehicles, coming back looking like this, alright, not how they demonize the UFOs like this picture they have here in the corner, alright, is gonna come back. Michael's gonna come back looking something like this. Michael shall stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of the people, children of Israel, the Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and those of the confused faces whose spirit knows that this is the truth. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. Alright, see, such as was not since the beginning of the world up to this time. This is talking about the same exact thing. But see here it says what? And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. And when you go back to Matthew, that's what Yahawshi was saying. It said, except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. For the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Right, because these chariots are going to come get us. Alright, and these days are being sped up. Alright, now when you jump down, it says, verse 29, immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heaven shall be shaken. That's that nuclear fire, alright, because they're talking about shooting nukes, man. That's what the UK and the US are talking about doing as a last resort, is shooting nukes. It says, and the powers of heaven shall be shaken, and there shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels. Alright, remember, Michael, at this same time, the angels are fighting for us, man. Michael's out there fighting in the heavens against these guys. Alright, against guys like this. And the former Navy, or the current Navy pilots, who says we should take him seriously. Alright, you're going to lose against Mayaka Allah. Alright, that's how you say his name in the Hebrew. The great sound of trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds. Alright, because all these nations, where all these planes and stuff are going to come from. Alright, where it says they gather a multitude of men out of the whole winds of heaven. Alright, there's Israelites all in these places. That's the Revelation 7 and 9 is talking about. Alright, you saw all those different kindreds and different tongues, people coming out of different tongues and nations. Alright, that's talking about who's faithful and true in Revelation 17. Alright, and 14. Let me just get that real quick. See, in Revelation 7 and 9, and this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and peoples and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, the same Lamb that's in Revelation 17 and 14, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands, and cried with a loud voice, saying, Salvation to our power, Allahia now, which sitteth upon the throne, and unto the Lamb. Alright? And they shall gather together his elect, scattered from the four winds, from the one end of heaven to the other. And Michael is going to be out there fighting for us, man. It says, and many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, meaning coming out of their spiritual slumber. Alright, waking up to who they are, receiving this truth, receiving salvation, getting called up by the chariots, man. Some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting content, like these other nations that are going to be fighting against us. Alright? Because once we get caught up, we're going to be turned into hunters, man. And that's another part of this truth. That's another part of this thing about the chariots, man. Alright, they're here to fight for us. They're our kin. In Revelations, the 19th chapter, the angel calls John and says him that I'm your fellow brethren, your kinsman. Alright? Just like Michael. Stand up. The great prince was standing for the children of the people. Alright, so Michael's gonna stand up. Alright. The chariots of Yasha Allah are gonna overcome. Yahawshi is gonna send forth his angels to come get us, man. So call Halayim la Yahawah Bashim Yahawshi, call Halayim la Yahawah Bashim Yahawshi, Shalom wa Barakim, and double honors to our elders and apostles, known as Great Millstone in these times. Shalom.